Satnam, welcome to this YouTube channel where we explore different Kundalini Yoga meditations and Pranayam and also Kriyas. My name is Sajdatam and I welcome you to this channel. Today I'd like to introduce you to a Pranayam, also like a meditation practice for energy, vitality, and health. And it has to do with a breath, segmented breath, and a mudra. So I'll explain the details and then we'll tune in and we'll practice this pranayam slash meditation, because it could be both, for 15 minutes. It will give you a beautiful practice to kind of recalibrate yourself and to infuse yourself with energy, which is prana, and good energy gives us vitality and hopefully health. So let's bring our hands together, we'll tune in, and then we'll go through the nitty-gritty of the meditation practice. Inhale deeply and exhale. We tune in with Adi Mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, chanted 3 times. Inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Deeply inhale, suspend the breath. As we bow and acknowledge that wisdom residing within, and slowly exhale, Satnam. So I'll explain the mudra for this meditation first. You're going to bring your left palm on top of the left and clasp your hands with the thumbs locked down. So either they cross here or they cross where they would normally be. You're going to hold this mudra at the level of the heart. Now notice there's no gender specificity except that the right hand comes on top of the left. And what you want to do is create, like when you squeeze your fingers together, it creates a slight little suction cup or a little vacuum seal. So what we're going to be doing is squeezing with an inhales and then releasing, squeezing, releasing, squeezing, releasing on every inhale, and I'll explain the breath. So I just want you to kind of practice this right now to see if you could get this suction going on. And you want to make sure that you're not separating the heels of your palms. So you're pressing in, like trying to close the gap between your palms and then pulling apart. So it feels really interesting, but you know, it's like pressurizes this whole area, like closing and opening. Okay, so that's the mudra. Your eyes are closed, simply closed. There's no education on the drishti point. Your focus could be at the brow point or the tip of the nose or just looking straight ahead. The breath is going to be 3 segmented, 3 strokes through the puckered lips, and then 1 powerful exhale through the nose. So on those 3 inhales through the puckered lips, you want to make sure that they're equal, that the volume of the breath coming in is consistent to the best of your ability. That's why the first few minutes is just going to be like feeling this territory and kind of establishing your own rhythm. So when you exhale, it helps to use your navel center, your belly button, abdominal muscles, however you want to label that, to pull in to help push all the breath out. So it's helpful to do that so that you're not just using your cheeks. So you want to really use your navel. So here's the combination of the two. Your every inhale through the mouth, you're gonna pull and squeeze your hands together. So you squeeze and release. You're not just squeezing. You squeeze and release, squeeze and release, squeeze and release. And on an exhale, you don't do anything. You just rest. Okay, so I don't know how you might be able to see this, but let me demonstrate. Watch my hands. Like that. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing for 15 minutes. There is not a mantra, but you could stay focused and listen to your breath, listen to the sound that your breath creates. I'm checking to see if I'm missing anything. There is a very specific ending to this pranayam, so at the end we will be inhaling and holding tight and squeezing everything. So be sure to be ready for that and take a little bit of water before we begin, because when we do breath through the mouth, it does get dry a little bit depending on your hydration levels to begin with. Okay, so now we're ready to begin. Bring your hands to the level of the heart, right hand on top of the left, and begin. Keep going and just make sure your spine is lengthened and your neck lock is engaged, jaw under bond. Keep going, rhythmically establishing your own pace, your own rhythm, and doing your best to keep the segmented breath equal. All three strokes should be equal. Here's your halfway point. So do your best to refine, keeping each segmented breath 1 second in duration, and exhale powerfully through the nose, also for 1 second. Last one. Inhale deeply and hold the breath and make your grip really, really tight. Squeeze your entire body. Bring the energy up the spine. Cannon breath out. And again, inhale. Squeeze the mudra. Squeeze the spine. Pull the shoulders down. Take your elbows and press them into your rib cage. Cannon breath out. And again, deep breath in. Hold the breath. Do not squeeze anything. Stay relaxed. Just hold the breath. Exhale. Relax the mudra. Just rotate your wrists for a moment. And then bring them to rest on your knees or into your lap. Close your eyes. And just notice what you observed during this practice. What came up for you? What were the passing thoughts? Notice the flow of your breath now. Notice its volume, its depth. And gently take a slow, full, deep inhale. And exhale, gently open your eyes. So that was the pranayam for energy, health, and radiance. I called it vitality earlier, but it is radiance. So some of the things that you might discover for yourself as you continue this journey with Kundalini Yoga and different varieties of pranayams is that the breath directly impacts the mind. The minute we bring our awareness to the breath, the chatter of the ego kind of takes the back seat. And this practice could kind of show us that we're so busy focusing on what we're doing that the subconscious pattern of thinking has been temporarily suspended. So like you may not have been thinking about what you were going to do next, or your grocery shopping list, or who you got to follow up with, or whatever it is that generally preoccupies your mind. So in that regard, when we bring our awareness to the breath, we could change the landscape of the mind. Like, what's going on here? Let's redirect it. Let's intercept it and get us off the habitual subconscious thinking patterns. And breath is an easy tool to do that with. It's always with you. And bringing your awareness to the breath is probably one of the most powerful meditative practices that we could do. So I hope you enjoyed this pranayam for health, vitality. Oh, here I go saying vitality again. For health, energy, and radiance. And not everyone knows that our hands hold a lot of pranic energy. So that action of pumping really activates the nerve endings in your palms. The entire meditation, I kept thinking of those Care Bears cartoon one of my kids used to watch, where their palms would light up and the heart would light up and they would be sending this energy. That's kind of what was um, the feeling that I got from this meditation. So again, if you enjoyed it, come back to it, practice it again. You could skip over the tutorial unless you want to watch it again and start the practice. We did it for 15 minutes. Those are the instructions here. And keep coming back to it and see what benefits you could reap from it. And just giving yourself to be with yourself, giving yourself the time to be with yourself. Let's bring our hands to the heart center. We'll seal the practice chanting Sat Nam. Inhale deeply. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Thank you so much for joining me for today's practice, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.